Good morning, everyone. It's time to call this meeting to order. The Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency. It's April 21st, 2016. Director Lean, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Chairman Baltzell.
Here.
Commissioners Carstensen.
Here.
Crosby.
Here.
Rehrman. Here. Coles.
Here.
Malzahn.
Here.
And Davis.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Coles is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Before we go any further, we would like to ask if there would be an opportunity to amend the agenda this morning.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we amend the agenda, adding to the agenda after item number 9 and prior to item number 10, an executive session pursuant to 74-206-1 subsection A, with the session to last no longer than 20 minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Is this a second? Do we need a roll call vote?
Just a voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just state on the record that the good faith reason for the amendment is that a personnel issue has arisen
Okay, very
as
good.
of late last night.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, any ceremonies, appointments, or announcements from anyone? If not, I do have one. Finally, get to have one of my own. Not one that I want, but it is one that I get to do, and that is Director Lean has informed me of his plan and intent to retire in the month of June. More specifically, I think he's targeting his last day of work with the agency to be Friday, June 10th. So that's not good news for all of us, but it's certainly good news for him, and I think we can all understand and appreciate all of that. We'll have more on that and on him down the road as we get closer. So that's my announcement for the record. I appreciate all of your cooperation. And does anyone have any conflicts to disclose regarding anything on our agenda this morning? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the consent calendar. Director Lean?
Yes, good morning, Chairman Baltzell and Commissioners. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes from March 17th, 2016. Item B is the District Review Committee minutes from April 6th, 2016. Item C is the Commission Workshop meeting minutes from April 13th, 2016. Item D is the payables for this month totaling $420,957.58. Now, the payables include 3 large items, those being the final payment to Cameron Riley on the Spokane Street renovation project in the amount of $92,241.95. The City of Post Falls for $302,858.55. That includes the Highway 41 Trail project, and that's the balance that we will be paying on that project in the amount of $271,725, and also Spencer Street, $31,133.55. And the last item would be the Greens Ferry Overpass. There's some attorney fees totaling $11,101. Item E in the consent calendar is a bank activity report, and that shows total funds in all accounts of $2,834,818.61, and also accrued interest for the month of $1,310.50. Item F is the financial reports as of March 31st. Those are printed from our in-house QuickBooks accounting system, and as usual, they will be posted to our website. Also included in the reports is a 6-month comparison of actual to budget. We show actual to be 99.91% of budget, so we're right on target. We're right in line with actual and budget. One of the commissioners on the Finance Committee completed a financial and bank statement review of the 3 months, January through March 2016, with no issues. Your approval of the consent calendar will authorize the transfer of $1,310.50 accrued interest to the general fund and transfer to the INB checking account of $420,957.58 for general payables. Chairman Baltzell, I would answer any questions and suggest a roll call vote would be in order to, and a motion to accept.
Okay. Any questions on the consent calendar report?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
That final payment on Highway 41 to the city,
Yes.
is that less than what we had planned on?
We had committed 300,000 matching funds on the project. We've already paid a little bit
Okay.
in a prior month. This is the balance remaining out of the 300,000.
So then the other two on Spencer Street, is that the final on Spencer Street?
I think that will be complete on that, yes.
So we got 41 Spencer Street, Greens Ferry?
Greens Ferry, we will have, I knew you would ask that question.
Oh, yeah.
Greens Ferry, total outstanding that we have funded to date is $7,011,879.89. We will be adding to that retainage, a little over $500,000, and also the balance of construction costs. We're estimating $1,142,344 as a remaining amount to advance on Greens Ferry. That'll put us in a total outstanding amount on the funding, on the loan, of $8,154,224. And again, the last payment at this point is just an estimate, but that will keep us under the $10 million. We reset the loan reserve amount to $1 million based on 10% of a $10 million loan balance. We're actually going to come in at $8.1 million on the loan, and that's good. We're in a good position on that, and that will allow us on our monthly payments to retire that debt a little sooner than we had originally anticipated.
So other than the remainder of Greens Ferry, everything in East Post Falls is, at this point, completed, financial-wise?
Financial, we're real close, yes.
Okay.
And construction, we are still working on some of the final punch list items on the Greens Ferry overpass. Spencer Street is open, the railroad crossing is open, the light is functional. That's all done. So, and the Highway 41 trail basically is a city project that we've just funded on the match funding. That's going really well. I've been driving by there. That looks really good. We're already getting some nice compliments on the fact that we supported that project.
Thank you.
Chairman, follow-up question.
Yes.
Within the context of the financial report, you had a summary of costs to date on Greens Ferry on page 19, and that shows $14,854,000. If I am accurate in the retainage and the balance due on the construction contract, will be somewhere around 16.2, 16.4 over on aggregate cost when we complete the project.
That would be correct.
Thank you. Chairman, the other question I had was just a question for council. I was not able to attend the workshop because I was out of town, but I noted that there were two actions taken, and I just wanted to confirm that commission meetings within the context of a workshop, we can make motions and make approvals.
Sure, as long as it's on the agenda.
Great, thank you.
As long as the matter is on the agenda.
Understood.
It doesn't specifically need to be on the agenda for approval. As long as the matter or the issue is on the agenda, then you can take action.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other question? Very good. Roll call vote, please.
Chairman Baltzell,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Malzahn,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Rehrman,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
and Carstensen.
Aye.
Was there a motion?
I don't think there was a motion.
Is there a
second.
motion to approve that?
We need a
Mr.
motion.
Chairman.
We need a motion, sorry.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, I would move that we approve the consent calendar.
I second.
Fine.
All right. Now can we have a roll call vote? Sorry about that, gang. Nice catch down there.
Commissioner Malzahn,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Rehrman,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Carstensen, and Baltzell.
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good, motion carried. Okay, moving on, committee updates, finance and policy, Commissioner Crosby, please.
As Mr. Lean indicated, members of the committee reviewed January, February, and March, and found everything to be in good shape. Also, as you can tell from the reconciliation of the first 6 months of our budget, we budgeted very tightly. We're $56.40 under budget for that 6 months, so I think that's a pretty accurate representation of how closely we were watching those expenses, we, the commission. So that's all I have to report, sir.
Very good, that is excellent. Okay, Commissioner Coles, district review.
We had a meeting on April 6th with some of the city staff and reviewed each of the districts with an eye towards potential for projects with what would remain in the increment to come in and the time frame of the districts. And we have several projects listed. They're in the minutes from the review committee meeting, and we're going to follow up on those.
Okay. Did you get input from the city, I believe, on some of those projects?
Yes, yes, we did.
Very good. All right, thank you. Commissioner Carstensen, Communications, Property, and Personnel.
We have nothing other than the announcement that you made this morning.
Okay, very good. Any citizen comments? You get 5 minutes.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Shelley Underwood, City Administrator. I just wanted to share with you that we're getting a number of positive comments on the Highway 41 trail. I think Tom may have been copied on an email that Rob Paulus, our engineer, sent out earlier this week, but we actually have individuals stopping and even thanking the contractors that are out on the job. I understand they even brought some food to them over the last week. So we've had various individuals communicating with the city. I think Tom's also gotten a number of comments from people on what a wonderful thing it is that we are putting that trail in over there, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
With the wall and everything going up. It's a really nice project. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to
it
share
really
that.
is. Thank you very much, Shelley.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Shelley?
Hey, anybody else like to make a comment? If not, we'll press on to unfinished business. I don't see any there. Does anybody have any unfinished business we need to discuss? Okay, new business. Director Lean?
Yes, Chairman Baltzell, on a PSOPA for Whitewater Creek Road construction in the Centerpoint District. PSOPA is it's an owner participation agreement. That's something that we need to put together. The information for this agenda item has not been fully developed at this point. As late as yesterday afternoon, we had a long conference call with some of the parties on this. So we anticipate continuing this discussion at our workshop scheduled for May 11th, if that's okay with Commission. So we would have no further discussion this morning. I would answer questions, though.
I believe our meeting is May 4th, not May 11th.
I don't think so.
That's correct.
It is the 4th.
We moved it so that we could have the planning session,
Strategic planning session.
strategic planning, on the 4th of May, not the 11th of May.
That is correct, yes. Thank you.
Thanks for that correction.
Chairman, I do have a question. I'm wondering why we need a separate agreement why the current proponent in this district can't do the street improvements that are being contemplated for this multifamily development within the context of the existing OPA.
They could do that, yes.
Then why are we
The agreement-
going into a subordinate agreement?
The agreement between the existing proponent developer, which is Point Partners LLC, the agreement between them and the developer was that rather than Point Partners LLC funding the construction of the road in excess of $700,000 up front, and then adding that to their obligation being paid over time, the contractor developer has made arrangements with them to come in and build the road, because that will provide access to the property he's developing. He's going to be the one that pays for this up front, so that Point Partners does not have to pay for it. And then he will be reimbursed when he buys that parcel. They're in process of buying that parcel number 1. When he concludes that acquisition, the increment from that parcel will be assigned to him. So he will pay for the cost of the road up front and be reimbursed from future increment. That will alleviate Point Partners from paying the $734,000 up front.
So the tax increment from the developed multifamily project would be the sole source of reimbursement to Whitewater?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I unfortunately was not at that workshop. I wish I had been. But, again, we're talking about $750,000 in tax increment being paid by the citizens of Post Falls and Kootenai County, going to support a multifamily development, which is already assisted with federal tax assistance. And I just have a serious issue, not only with us reimbursing for multifamily or single-family or residential development, and with this essentially a double dip into property and federal subsidies. I just make that statement.
So noted, thank you. Is there anyone else like to make a comment? Okay. Okay. Let's see, and that's just informational, right? There's no action required at this time because we
That's
haven't
correct.
seen the proposal. And we'll wait and see what the final proposal is, and then we'll have more discussion for sure. So, okay, staff report and updates.
I just had one item in the information included in the information packet was a report from the RAI, the Redevelopment Association of Idaho. It's an association of urban renewal agencies. That was a report from them on the 2016 legislative session. One of the comments in the report was the 2016 legislative session was challenging, and few, if any, could have predicted the roller coaster ride resulting in the passage of an urban renewal bill on the closing day of the session. That was House Bill 606, known as the Urban Renewal Reform Bill, which substantially amended the law and the act. I just wanted to comment that we'll post this letter report on our website for viewing by the general public, and our office would be available to provide any comment on any inquiries that we have. And this letter report was provided to you in the information packet.
Right, good. Any comments or questions on any of that? The special legislative committee that we established earlier this year, I thought did an excellent job in keeping us abreast of how things were going in Boise. I think it was very, very helpful to all of us to kind of keep on top of it. And since it is a special committee at this time, we're going to stand that down until we end up in another legislative commission, and then we'll stand it back up again if we feel that's an important thing to do. So Lynn and Tom, and I can't remember who else was.
Jamie did.
And Jamie, thank you very much for your work on that. It was very, very helpful. Anything else on the staff report and updates?
No, sir.
Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session as requested on the agenda earlier.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into executive session for purposes of discussing personnel issues pursuant to Section 74-2061A, and that no further action or making of any final decision shall be made within executive session, and that the executive session shall last no longer than 20 minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'd second.
Okay, Larry seconded, I guess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I think that was unanimous. We're now in executive session. Executive session is now over, and we are back into open session. And I'd like to, there are no actions needed to be taken from the executive session at this time. However, I would like to ask for commissioner comments.
Chairman, I have a comment.
Thank you.
First of all, in reading the District Review Committee's notes, I certainly support City Administrator's suggestion that the Commission and the City have a joint workshop to discuss future plans for certain districts that are maturing. I think that's a prudent thing to do. Secondly, I think in our workshop on May 4th, which will lead to a strategic planning session that same day, we should address the position that the Commission wishes to take with regard to using tax increment to support infrastructure that is supporting residential development. We have the Whitewater Creek proposal and we have the Expo proposal, both of which involve residential development. There was extensive discussion at the Planning Commission hearing with regard to the changes requested in the comp plan on the Expo, and 2 of the 4 existing commissioners that were in attendance at that meeting expressed concern about using urban renewal to support residential, and they were basically told by council that, well, that's something the Urban Renewal Commission needs to address. And if that's the position of the city council, then and the city attorney, then we should absolutely address that and not let this process proceed without a determination as to whether or not the ultimate resolution of the proponent's request for changes in zoning and changes in land use going to the city council will result in a situation where this commission is now facing a situation where the proponent has received approval for those requested changes, and yet we have not taken a position with regard to whether or not we support residential development or whether or not we're going to require de-annexation. So I think that we need to take a position on that, and that we need to reflect on the fact that residential development ultimately, even if the tax increment coming from that residential development goes into the taxing entities, it costs the community money in terms of city services required to support and maintain that. And if we take that tax increment away, then we're even creating a greater burden on the city, the taxing entities, and the taxpayer. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Yes? No? Okay. I think in any of those kind of cases, it's important to me that we make sure that whatever we do follows state law and the code. And if there's restrictions against doing those kinds of things, then we need to certainly look at that and take that direction. If it's just opinion, then we have to be very careful whether it's our opinion and whether it is actually good for the community or not. And does it help foster growth in a development that's been struggling, whether it's Expo or whether it's Centerpoint or anywhere else? I think it's important that we keep our eyes wide open, and if we have a personal opinion, let's make sure that we have it backed up by facts as opposed to something else that may or may not be necessarily. Maybe 3 or 4 years from now, the commissioner will look different and they'll say something totally different if it's just strictly opinion. So as long as we're following state code, then we need to really decide from there if it still is open for yes or a no, then what's the best thing for the community, I think is a way we should approach it. So
I don't want to be argumentative, and this is probably not the proper forum, but I will say the plan did not contemplate any residential development. So we're going to effectively amend the plan, or we're not going to amend the plan.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Those are the things we need to look at.
Sure.
Is that or is that not amending the plan?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So. Okay, and I think there's some research been done on that already so that we can have something to look at ahead of time possibly. So
Could we see that prior to the May 4th meeting?
I would surely hope so.
Which plan are we talking about? Are we talking about
Expo.
Centerpoint or are we talking about Expo?
Excellent.
White Center Point's the one we're going to be dealing with, right? Just for now. Expo is down the road. And I would say if you do one, you do the other, or you don't.
Well, the last, I mean, I thought de-annexation was off the table now, as far as Expo goes. I mean, the last I heard, the city wasn't insisting on that anymore, so
Right, but I don't.
that's coming back up.
Yeah, I think it's Center Point that's coming first, right?
The Expo Parkway West, or the Beck Road West, is the
Right.
center point
Right.
issue.
So I think we just need to keep it all up on the table and make sure that we're dealing with it in the same way.
And in the public.
Yep. Okay. All right, any other commissioner comments? Okay. Chairman comments, I think I've said about as much as I need to say or want to say at this time, but just again to thank Tom and Diane for all the work they do, and Pete for keeping us on track when we need it, and even when we don't need it. So appreciate it very much, and all of the work that the commissioners do, and to keep our hearts and minds in the right direction for the community of Post Falls, and I appreciate all of your work. Thank you, and with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, we're adjourned.